Welcome, everybody, to This Is Difficult, the podcast, a show where we talk basically about nonsense and mostly Elden Ring. Now, I'm just kidding about video games and
for real though
things. And it's going to be a lot of Elden Ring for the whole year, probably.
Zach and I were actually talking about that before the show. We were like, I need to start playing other games, especially because I know that I'm going to be probably playing Elden Ring all year.
Luckily for me, my next game comes out very soon. So I'm very grateful that Nintendo has bestowed upon me a blessed cherub from beyond. The game we haven't played in so long, Kirby. So nice.
Are you gonna pick up I know we
stream it also.
I know we haven't finished the intro, but what's that Fox Zelda game? Furry Zelda.
Furry Zelda.
Yeah, what's it called? It just came out like 2 days ago.
Tunic.
Tunic. You gonna pick that up?
Yeah, what is the concept behind that? Why is he a fox? I don't get it.
To make you ask questions.
Robin Hood. I'm probably gonna get Tunic. It looks like a $10-15 game on G2A. I'm probably not gonna get it on Steam because I'm cheap.
Well, it's on Game Pass if you have Game Pass.
I think I undownloaded it because I stopped caring. I got it in Narita Boy, and then I was like, stopped caring. It was like $10 a month, and I'm like, ouch.
But for real though,
I really only played Narita Boy, so I was like, oh, that was like, when did I play that? That was a year ago.
Yeah.
So like, I haven't played anything else on Game Pass since, or like anything that I've seen that I wanted to play on it. So I'm like, okay, this is like the first one. I might as well just buy it. $10 game probably.
Yeah.
But I also like to own my games. I know that's kind of funky.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, I really, even if it's just on Steam and it's just a fucking icon on my desktop, I want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really like that.
So who are we? What are we doing here?
Oh yeah, so this is difficult, the podcast. It is also difficult to begin starting the podcast, apparently. Wow, I have so many lights.
Really.
I have 2 lamps now, and it's like so blown out, I'm realizing. I don't know. My mom got me these light bulbs when she visited, and they're like weird yellow lumens.
She was like, Josh, stop living in a dungeon.
Pretty much, but now I feel like I'm surrounded by them and they're all looking at me. And we're a podcast about video gaming.
And apparently lights.
Yeah, so that's really it. I'm Lord Yeshua, your co-host. My name is Josh. Welcome back. It's been 2 weeks. We took off last week due to
my brother's birthday.
By aliens. His brother's birthday.
By the way, Josh, I apologize. I thought I threw the announcement up in the thing.
The tab.
Yeah.
The tab only appears when I'm tagged in it. I don't know why. And so it appeared today because there was a tag I hadn't read in it. But then as soon as I clicked on it, it disappeared.
That's so weird.
So the Discord, I'm going to have to talk to Colin about it. It's some kind of weird thing that I probably did an auto mute on by accident and have no idea how to change the setting on. Designed it to somehow go away when I'm done with it. And I'm like, why would I do that? And how? I don't even know how to control these things, let alone finesse it like that. But all right. And then we're on Paul's channel. It's Ryugami-san in the flesh. Wow, we are destroying the segues. All right, and another letdown. It's Zach.
What's up, everybody?
What's on your shirt?
What's on my shirt? Ramona Flowers.
Oh, okay. It's game edition.
Yep, it's correct. It's comic edition. It's
comic edition.
It's for animal shelters and stuff.
Ah, how cute. Very nice. Yeah. Very nice. I'm going to pass out to Paul, so I'll stop just consuming our precious real time. It's all still made from reels, so we have to get this film processed after this.
Yeah, 35 millimeter.
35 millimeter.
If we had a podcast that was shot on 35 millimeter,
and we're filming from 3 different cameras, so
yeah,
we'd have to feed
definitely
it all
3 different locations.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, like Josh said, we took last week off. Once again, Josh, I apologize. That was totally my fault not communicating that to you. And
I did the whole podcast by myself.
I know. Well, I felt like you were in panic mode, and I was like, oh shit, I really dropped the ball.
I may have just dropped it in every single thing. I just didn't get into my thing. The thing disappeared, and I was just like, nope.
Admittedly, though, sometimes we rag on Josh for being late or whatever. But no, he was on top of it last week. Yeah. And for maybe the first time ever, and he's texting us. And my phone was, I think I left it in my car. I wasn't even looking. I didn't even look at it until I got home. I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
And then Paul finally dropped the announcement.
A week off was nice,
Yeah.
Get some Elden Ring in.
Well, what's funny is I did the I typed out the announcement and I did the everyone tag in Discord and I hit enter and it does that stupid thing where it's like, are you sure you want to say it to everyone? And I didn't acknowledge that part. And so the message never sent. So my bad. Anywho. Yeah, so we took a week off. How's everyone's time off? Did you guys play games? Did you have fun times? Did you do cool things? Zach, let's start with you.
Yes, end it with me.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's been a very gaming filled couple of weeks for me.
Nice.
But also some fun stuff. Like I said, it was my brother's birthday last week, and my best friend's, I call her my sister, Amanda's birthday the same day. So last week we celebrated Tim's birthday, and then today I went over and hung out with Amanda and the kids, and we went to the seasonal opening of a maple sugar house, which was
sounds
fun.
like what
delicious.
Yeah, it sounds delicious. That's exactly what it is. And then we saw the Uncharted movie. Don't bother.
Oh, how was that?
Don't bother.
Yeah, it sounds like
wait
Tom
for streaming.
Holland's commercial.
It's so. I explained it to Paul. I said the first act is just everything Mark Wahlberg didn't get to do in The Brazilian Job, the sequel to The Italian Job.
This is a movie people saw.
I like The Italian Job. I think it's
the Italian Job.
Right.
The Brazilian
Job was
Job.
supposed to be the sequel. It was supposed to be a sequel.
And it never happened?
And it never happened for obvious reasons.
Because no one cared.
No one cared.
I would have cared. I really liked the Italian Job.
I would have cared too,
but Brazilian Job.
But not enough investment.
It's my dad's favorite movie.
Job was OG. But that movie is still classic.
Yeah,
right. It's so they literally.
I would love to see Mini Coopers just flying through Brazil,
yeah, me too.
Through favelas and shit, like.
Right. But play Forza then.
Oh, there you go.
So we went. So the first act is just Italian Job sequel with Ocean's 11 jokes, like literally blow by blow Ocean's 11 stuff.
Okay.
And then the second act is just National Treasure. Okay. And the third act is
also a fun movie.
Yes. And the third act is just Pirates of the Caribbean. And they threw all those things in a blender and poured a script through an AI, and it was fine. And then they added Tom Holland for the star appeal. That's Uncharted.
Yeah, when I saw that scene, I was like, where he's like falling out of the plane. I knew that's what the movie was, and I was like, well, the whole point of the game, Uncharted, is that it's supposed to be very much like playing a movie and exploring in a movie. And to make a movie out of it, just like lazifies that to the like
that experience.
Degree. Yeah, it's just like you're already playing a game that's already as lazy as it gets. Basically,
I actually have heard good things about the movie.
No, it's fun, and it's
firsthand right here. Don't bother.
Don't bother seeing it in theater, but definitely like if you find it on demand,
definitely when you're bored and it's free.
Yeah, exactly. Wait till you're bored and it's free, and it's a good time.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen Batman yet? By the way,
I have not. I've heard such mixed things. I read this hilarious review. I don't know if I posted it anywhere. I could probably pull it up and read it real quick.
Oh, while you're doing that, Chamali would be yelling at us right now if he were here. So
I would be cutting our throats. I love it.
So in terms of gaming, yeah, right. In terms of gaming, I did finally make it to. I finished the DLC for Spider-Man Remastered. Moved on into Miles Morales.
Then grew up into.
Wait for my review on those ones. Played a bunch more Pokemon Arceus.
And then hit himself over the head with a hammer and is now playing.
Hold on, not even there yet, Josh.
I'm just kidding. I just want to hear how
I played some more Gears Tactics. We finally made some progress, and it's been a long time coming. The game is great.
Arceus, how far in that game now, hour-wise?
A lot of hours.
Like 80?
No, not that much.
Damn, this game seems so good. And
it's really
like,
good.
Weird timing,
extremely good. Honestly. But yeah, correct.
Its launch window was so poorly everything.
Poor timing, yeah, absolutely. But like
it was perfect for me.
Well, because you just get every game that comes out that you want. Right? I feel like it wasn't like, with Elden Ring and Kirby, it was like kind of weirdly placed.
And then on Friday, instead of streaming, I bit the bullet and bought the cables I need and installed my graphics card, and it worked the first time, and I played Forza Horizon 5.
Wow, I'm gonna die.
No, I played Elden Ring.
Good, there we go.
It's so I did play Forza 5, but I was like
after.
No, actually before. The reason being is like I already had it installed, so I played Forza while Elden Ring was installed.
You got a fat update for Elden Ring.
Yeah. And it didn't take long. My internet connection is fantastic, so it came down like 20-25 minutes. The whole game. Yeah. It was great. But I was like, okay, in deference to the podcast and in deference to playing something else this week, I'm gonna get a couple of races in, and it also is a good stress test for my graphics card. Because I was able to go from bare minimal graphics on my old card to absolute top end in Forza. Awesome. Elden Ring does not run in top end, partly due to my own decision. Like I was like, I'm gonna run it on high graphics, not extreme, because I just don't want to overtax things like the processor and the RAM and all the other stuff that I didn't upgrade.
Yeah.
And it looks gorgeous. It acts gorgeously. I'm still very much learning and growing as I go. I haven't even really gotten out of the first area. I'm just kind of slaughtering the same knights over and over and over again. Just really, I call it the puke drill. It's until I can do the basic stuff in my sleep. I don't want to.
There's some stuff I'm still just learning. Like, did you know if you two-hand your sword, you can block with it?
Yeah. I did know that.
I didn't know that.
But I'm also playing as the bandit, which I know is the most handicap class, like the highest handicap class.
Is it? I thought that was the.
She's
the wretch is. But...
Oh, there's the wretch. But
is level 0.
Right. The bandit starts at level 5, so she's almost the lowest. And I say she because my character is female, but she can't do. I'm not sure off the top of my head. But right. She doesn't fare very well against bosses because her thing is stealth.
That's like the worst thing for every bad guy.
Right. So I have to get used to getting in close from behind and using that backstab.
Oh yeah, I've been like going slowly and heavier into strength with later and later into the game. I get. I'm like, oh yeah, you could just kill people like this very easily.
So my thought process is, I'm going heavy into dexterity, and just really and
there's some really good dex builds.
You really need strength for a lot of the dex builds, though.
Yeah, you need at least like 30 strength for most.
Dex, endurance are really good.
Yeah. And it'll be fine. Like it's going to be a grind opening up or starting out here, but like I know what I need to do. I've got a line, and I just found out at dinner that I'm going to have all afternoon on Friday to play. So I'm very excited.
The game is so fun. It's not even ever a grind. I always am like, do I have to grind now? And I'm like, I'll just explore somewhere I haven't been. That's why I just like wandered.
What I end up doing is like I get really overpowered, and then I find another area where I'm like little baby bitch boy, like
exactly.
And then I'm like, oh god, I do not belong here.
When I do that and I get shocked, then I try and find all the other areas that I haven't been before that, and I'm like, okay, there's still this area, this area. That's when I.
So I'm really digging it. I really think it's fun. I do think it is going to be a game that I play on and off all year, but in between other things like. When we're playing online, yeah, sure, I'll be playing Elden Ring, but like, when Space Marine 2 comes out, I'll stop Elden Ring and play that.
That's a thing.
There's a bunch of games that I will stop Elden Ring to play, but it's there for me. It's sort of just an ongoing challenge, and I'm excited about it.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm right there with you, man. I've actually put a ton of time into Elden Ring over the last couple weeks. And I've realized, Zach and I were talking before the show, it's like I really need to focus on other games because I am going to be playing this, continually throughout the year. And we need more content for the show.
Not only that, I want to make this game last. This game, I don't want any of us to beat it so fast that we're just like done with it.
Well, so for me, this style of game I've noticed is a game that I like to just continually play. Like, and I felt this way
a lot better too than we are. You're beating fucking insane bosses in like 1 or 2 tries,
dude.
Like,
I beat.
I know. And me and Colin are like, we can't even like walk in that region without getting our asses slapped.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, this was not the first time I have fought we're talking about Radan. Radan is one of the more difficult bosses in the game. Yes. It's notably probably insanely hard. It's a freaking awesome fight, and I don't want to spoil it for Zach, so I'm not going to say too much. But it's a freaking awesome fight. And on one of my characters, my strength build character, I probably fought it 20 times before beating it. And at a much higher level than my dex build character, my samurai. And then I went and fought it with my samurai and beat it on the second try. So I did not expect to, because my first try with that samurai, I walked in and got one shot. So I was like, blood loss helps.
Blood loss helps. See, I have a huge blood loss sword, and I'm just
blood loss is so rad.
Never mind. Yeah. We can't go through.
But anyway,
poison too.
It was fun. It was like it was one of those awesome moments in gaming where you're just like, this was fucking incredible. So
that's amazing.
But other than Elden Ring, I really haven't been playing other games, unfortunately, though I am going to start focusing on that over the coming weeks. I will probably be ready to review Elden Ring as of next week, but we probably won't review it next week, depending on...
You're really going to beat it, you think?
I might. It depends on how much time I get in this week. But yeah, I want to start focusing on some other games, though, for sure.
You're going to be holding back a lot of spoilers, just so you know, for like months.
Well, maybe. Anyway,
well, I mean, I don't care about spoilers, honestly. Yeah.
I kind of do for this game.
Okay, there you go.
The story I do care about because it is like super slow and intricate.
Yeah. Well, I'm really bad at paying attention to story, so I probably won't spoil story per se. But anyway,
I know the boss names already.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. You might by accident, Paul. I think that's what Josh is worried about.
Fair.
Yeah, don't say too much. This is exactly how you kill the final boss.
Oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, moving on. I did other things over the course of this last week. Like I saw the new Jujutsu Kaisen movie, which was a blast. It was so good. I've never watched the show, and fortunately this movie was a prequel to that show. And I went and saw it with some homies, and it was fucking great. And then I started watching the show. The show's not as good as the movie, but it's fine.
I will say that this movie coming out is like a resurgence of the show. Apparently, a lot of people are talking about this movie, but the show is never been heard of. I've
heard of it, and I've kind of been eyeballing it. There's only one season so far of the show, so it's a fairly new show. But I've seen it and heard things, but never got around to it. Then I went and saw the movie, and I absolutely loved it. I also saw the newer Carnage movie or Venom movie. There Will Be Carnage, or whatever the hell it's called.
Let There Be Carnage.
Let There Be Carnage.
Oh, yeah.
It was fine. A lot of people didn't like the first Venom movie, and I loved the first Venom movie. I loved it. I think it's one of the more fun comic book movies.
It was very plain.
I loved it. So you're fired, and I
already quit earlier.
So suddenly Paul is looking for two new hosts.
Yeah,
he's fired both one fell swoop.
But Carnage was fine. It wasn't as good as the first one. So if you didn't like the first one, you probably also won't like this.
That's gonna be really.
I thought it was still a fine movie. Definitely. It's a renter.
Definitely the third Batman after Dark Knight. That good, you mean?
I thought.
No, honestly, though,
I thought worse than that.
Wait.
Oh, because you don't like Dark
Knight.
Might
be the worst of the Batman movies.
Are you kidding? I forgot the comparison doesn't work with him because he doesn't like Dark Knight.
Should I go start reading comics again? Are you two going to go off on another tangent?
No. I'm going to hold.
Dark Knight's only good because of Heath Ledger, and let's move on. So.
Which is a really good performance.
Though. It is.
Paul's
it's excellent.
Views do not represent all of our views on this podcast.
Dude, if you've watched that movie as much as I've watched that movie,
I'm not disagreeing.
We can all agree that the best Batman is animated series. So.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
So we're okay.
Sure. Mark Hamill End of story.
No matter how much we feel about secondary Batman and Joker, we know what the best ones are. So.
Anyway, what else? What else did I do this week? And or last week? Went over to a homie's. Actually, Merc. He's one of the community members. Merc Tool. Went and hung out with him and had some delicious Reubens, the Prince of sandwiches.
It is the Prince of sandwiches.
These were freaking delicious. No, not the king.
What's the king of sandwiches?
Cubans.
The Cubano.
The Cubano. Yeah.
Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
Paul and I have been continually having.
We have like a holy trinity of sandwiches. Well, we have like an entire like hierarchy of sandwiches. Yeah, it's wild. I
need this handbook.
But yeah, that's a whole nother discussion.
Easy though. Cubano, Reuben. What was the third one?
I don't love Reubens. I'll be honest.
You don't love Reubens? For me, it's either like a chicken parm or like a meatball sandwich.
Turkey bacon, cheddar, or some shit.
But there's a lot of other ones that you could fit into that discussion. I honestly don't remember our original three, holy trinity.
I thought the original three was Cubano,
Reuben, Cubano, Reuben, and something else.
Muffaletta.
Was it Muffaletta?
Yeah. I thought it was Muffaletta.
Muffalettas are amazing sandwiches.
Yeah, it's Italian sandwich on steroids.
Yeah,
I'd probably say the Cuban is really the king though.
It's actually it's a Cajun Italian sandwich.
Yes, that's right.
What a muffaletta is. Right. And it originated in Louisiana, and it's phenomenal. It's hard to explain. Essentially, it's like layers of Italian meats, and then it's got like this really badass like olive relish, which sounds weird, but it's fucking delicious. And then it's on like this round like sesame seed roll thing. I don't even know what kind of roll it's.
I
don't know though.
Sesame seeds.
A bagel with no hole in the middle.
No, it's not a bit. I don't know. Anyway, it's delicious.
I just need to try it.
Anyway, try a muffaletta.
I
would absolutely try.
They're very good, and it's got like melted Swiss cheese on it or something. I don't know.
Makes me want a really good sandwich like right now.
So good. Yeah.
I have to have bacon on my sandwich though. For the most part.
I love bacon.
Josh,
on
what
sandwiches.
did you play this week? Well,
wait.
There's more. Story.
One last thing. One last thing.
32 minutes into the show.
My review's gonna be really quick.
Part of that is our start time. We're only 26 minutes into the show.
True. We only started 7:08.
Yeah, so probably closer to 19 minutes. So I got Elden Ring on PC and I installed it on my laptop, which has a full-size 2060 in it. The game runs on high settings. I didn't check the frame rate, but it runs beautifully. Beautiful. I did notice like when intense things are happening, like a little bit of slowdown, but nothing like game breaking. So probably if I dropped it down a little bit settings wise, it'd run at like, a beautiful 60. But yeah, it's good. It's good. Anyway, that's it. So Josh, go ahead.
Now my turn. I only play Elden Ring. Bye. No, just kidding. This week and last week. Yep. I'll just do the gaming stuff. It was fun, I actually saw a movie too, though. I saw a midnight showing of Akira, which was like fully remastered, and the sound was all fully ASMR like enabled and everything. It was like really amazing.
God damn, I was jealous of that actually.
Yeah. So me and a friend went, and it was like, as soon as it opened up, that first scene with like the fucking shockwave, I was like, okay, this is fucking bringing me back, because I hadn't seen this movie in like 20 years.
Yeah,
so that was really cool. That's like the only like real life thing I did except from work,
Excuse me.
And then I played a lot of Elden Ring with Colin. That was really fun. We are crushing it, I think, and then we just get squished in the next area every time.
Yeah,
that's how the game works, But it's so fun. This game is definitely not something I want to rush. But I've also been playing lots of Magic, and the game is just incredible. It's like the game I'm going to be playing until I'm 80. It's a card game.
The two of them before the show were prattling on for.
We were prattling quite a bit, talking about dual lands and such. Yeah. And then, and then I played in the last 2 weeks. I played some Smash Bros as well, which is the game I'm going to be reviewing. So it's not. It's like maybe on the cusp of the last 2 weeks, but I've been playing it a lot more lately. Cool. And I have a nice review for you guys.
We can switch on over, and let me get the footage. This is not our footage. The footage comes from Long Play Archive is the YouTube video. So let me switch over to Josh's review. All right.
So the title of the game I'm going to be reviewing is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but I'm going to be doing a fair review here in that I'm not going to be doing a launch review or like, because we've all fucking played this game by now. Everyone's played Smash and all that, so I'm going to be going over every aspect of this, including the online and the DLC and all the added concepts and just how the game is as a whole. So not just like the conception and the idea of the game, like, you know what I mean? So let's rate the whole thing pretty much since it's been out for a few years and like really see how it's adjusted to being the new Smash Bros. You know, that seems kind of like a fair time to do it. Mm-hmm. So it's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and it is for the Switch. What is it? Where is it? Where is it available? How much is it? How much is it right off the bat? I mean, I think it's still a $60 game because Smash Bros. Never goes down in price. Like even Smash
Nintendo
Bros.
games in general.
Like, yeah. Smash Brawl is like $100 game. Like it just goes up a lot of the time, I've noticed. So never sell your hard copies of any of that shit. Oh, it looks like it was released on December 7th, 2018. So it really hasn't been out for too long. It's really been cementing itself as the new Smash Bros. In the competitive field, there's always Melee and the online Melee servers, of course. But Ultimate has a lot of tournaments and online activity going on from Nintendo and from like, side tournaments and like all that shit. And they still have GPs and world championships and stuff like that. So Smash is absolutely in full swing still. It's more popular than ever as far as like online gaming. If you own a Switch and you yearn for the feeling of headshots and shit, you're probably playing Smash instead because it's like that version, you know what I mean? So developed by Bandai Namco Studios, they kind of do like everything, don't they?
It seems like they do these
Elden days. Ring and they made Smash Bros. Like what? Wait, what? Honestly, the concept
have we been sleeping on Bandai Namco?
Have we been sleeping on Bandai Namco? I bet if we look down the roster of like,
I'm looking right now.
I bet it's like all of our favorite shit. Dude, the fact that Bandai made Elden Ring and Smash is like, bravo, motherfuckers. You guys are
okay. I'm gonna give you the blitz list
here. Give me the meat real quick.
So, Bandai Namco Studios kind of like got their start. Like, I mean, they've been around forever, but like they've been really hardcore developing
90s,
since 2013. Like that was their big year, and they started with just like Wii Sports Club. Like that was their first big Nintendo thing. Then we saw Smash Ultimate, Smash for 3DS and Wii U first.
We saw the Wii U for Smash. Yep. Oh wow, I didn't know they did that too.
Tekken 7, Pac-Man 256, Galaga 20th, Pac-Man Bounce.
Weird.
Bunch of Pac-Man stuff.
Well, because Bandai owns
Pac-Man,
yeah. So that Namco, Namco.
Mario Sports Superstars, Mario Kart Arcade, Soul Calibur.
I knew that, yeah. Soul Calibur.
7, 8, another Galaga game.
God, I love Galaga.
Extreme. They did new Pokemon Snap, Josh.
Damn. That's crazy.
They did that shitty Kakarot game that I just played.
They did shitty Kakarot. How are they going to do Kakarot and then they're going to do Elden Ring?
I don't know, man.
I'm sorry.
They've got such a so Bandai Namco is an umbrella. Yeah, they're an umbrella. So like FromSoft did Elden Ring, right?
FromSoft is the developer.
And it was just produced essentially.
So I was gonna say Bandai Namco is basically like a Rareware, where it's like still like a mother company, but then there's like small production teams as well within it.
Yeah.
Or they've got. I mean, at least
this list is absolute fire, and I'm noticing that this list does not even include 2022, so therefore it does not include Elden Ring.
Elden Ring is about to smash the charts. Let's be real.
Oh my gosh!
Year's gonna just like get the Game Awards over with already. Fuck. I can't imagine anything coming out this year unless Zelda drops.
There's going to be some good games this year, I think.
Let's not forget that
Space Marine 2 is going to be good.
What is it?
Yeah.
Space Marine 2.
Let's not forget that Zelda did win Game of the Year when it dropped. It's so it's very possible. So it's very possible that they're not dropping it in 2022 for this reason. Also,
there's a litany of reasons we could go on and on why it's not dropping this year.
Carry on.
Anyway, where was I? Yes, and so this is a 4-year-old game now, not even 4, like 3-year-old game. Played on the Switch. It's only available on the Switch. Go fuck yourself. If you don't have a Switch, you're not playing Smash. Arguably the most unique fighting game, I would say. I'm not saying that the word unique is special or like in a good or bad way, but if you're used to Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and literally every arcade fighting game ever, which I grew up on, like Street Fighter in the arcade, literally, and Mortal Kombat and Rampage and all that shit, like
I don't even consider Smash a fighting game. It's its own genre,
that brings me
and
to
it has
that
bred
point.
its own genre of games.
Yeah, exactly. That brings me to that point. I would say it is a side-scrolling platformer with fighting like properties. Like it really is honestly just a side-scrolling platformer, and then your characters just have a bunch of acrobatic like moves that just happen to damage other players, and the scenario is to knock them out, basically. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's when you just say it like that, calling it a fighting game is kind of like it's really a platformer like Nintendo's good at, you know what I mean? And it just like has a lot of this kind of new shit in it. But so yeah, Smash is argued as, I'm not even going to defend it on that. Like it's argued as not being a fighting game, it being a unique fighting game, like tons of different things. But the point stands that it is a very viable like community. You know, it's definitely like a well received, competitive and well received casually as well. I would say like when you think of like what can I get to have fun with my friends, and you're a kid and you have any Nintendo console at any time in history, you're like Mario Kart, Mario Party, Smash Bros. You know what I mean? It's like those are the ones that like, you know, the general like Nintendo 3, like, and you know, generally speaking, usually Mario Kart and Smash even just alone. But and then so what else? What do I like about the game? Okay, so there really is a lot to like about the game. If you are a Nintendo fan, it's just amazing. I mean, like there's just a ton of awesome fan service as far as there being like every Nintendo character. I will say, oh wait, actually, let's do the things I like about the game. Okay, I will say it's pretty easy to pick up and like kind of learn, and everyone has a different fighting style, so you can really bond with certain characters. Like for me, Bowser is my absolute best, hands down. I can destroy anyone with Bowser. I don't give a shit what you say. I can, but as soon as I pick anyone else, it's like I'm half as good. You know what I mean? So like some characters you just kind of flow with, you learn, and it feels really intuitive. So there's a lot of good shout outs throughout the history. It's like a museum to Nintendo, and Smash has really always been that to Nintendo.
Yeah.
Where this is something I respect outside of the actual core gameplay of Smash. And since Melee, especially with the trophies and like the lore, and then they started doing masterpieces. And Ultimate has a lot of lore and history in it, as far as like if you just want to learn about the games and all of these items, characters, assist trophies, fighters, whatever, everything is from, like you can do that in this massive encyclopedia in a moving museum to Nintendo. It's really fucking cool. Like if you put it like that, Smash has a lot going for it as far as like just like being a walking history of Nintendo and other companies as well. Like Sonic's in there and like, you know, Solid Snake and shit. So it's really cool to see who can get into this game. But that brings me to things I don't like about the game is there's a bunch of fucking idiots in this game now. So now we paid for our DLC. We spent a good I actually didn't get the last pack, but I think we've spent $60 to $80 in DLC if you got all of it. If you got all of like the me packs and all the other auxiliary shit that was randomly dropped sometimes, I could see you having paid $200 for all the DLC for Smash Bros. Over the course of 3.3 years. So 3 years and a quarter. And so there's just a lot that the core of this game you're given is so pure and great. And then you're offered an augmentation, and the augmentation is there even if you don't accept it actually. So if you're playing online, then all of the DLC is there for other people to use against you. And they're not necessarily all balanced. And I'm not just going to fight that as like I'm not just gonna, this isn't like a fight against is DLC balanced or not, but like a lot of it DLC character wise is very enticing. And like for me, Banjo-Kazooie is the only DLC character that stands out. That's like a real game character. And when they made that, I was like, oh my God, I'm buying that. I did that. And I was like, this is amazing. This is a real game character being put in. Then we have 10 anime characters being put in that can one-shot you with some dragon arm from across the stage. And I'm just like, what is Smash anymore? And it becomes like so much more degraded, I feel like. And the online community becomes more degraded because there's more abusable characters. And so now the online is much more toxic, and it becomes a much more toxic community in general. So in my experience, the thing I did not like about the game is basically like characters can be abused now, and you'll get like fucking ganged up on by like Ness and Lucas, who seemingly are fair characters, and you'll just get like set on fire 100 times in a row until you just kill yourself. And you're just like, why do people play the game like this? And I guess that's just the nature of the game. You know what I mean? So you just have to brace yourself for this kind of thing. I will say in the last Smash, there was like taunting and stuff, and we could like write things to each other. And me and my buddy had a list of horrible and nice things to say to people, more like counters, because we knew what people would say to us. And we'd be like, yeah, well, you know what I mean? Like for each character, like something like Charbage for Charizard. We had like funny, stupid ones. we never went that hard, but we had like a lot of taunts that were semi-mean. And then, you know, some nice ones that were like, nicely done, good job, add me as a friend, stuff like that. That was fun. But now it's like, I don't know. It's less like that, so it just feels a little more like cut and dry. But I will say in the 1v1 environment, it's a little more healthy. There's less like shenanigans and bullshit when it's like not on a crowded stage. Like the multiplayer is not really like graded like it used to be. There used to be like for glory. And this was great. This was so great. I can't express like it was, what was it? 2 minutes and 2 lives. And that was it. And you were on a final D board with no items. And that was the rules. Like everyone got the exact same rules. And I was like, this is great. And to this day, you can still set the rules like that. But if you set the rules like that, like I do, not everyone else sets the rules like that. And so you're still doing like item matches half the time. And so like the matchmaking is really not there. And this game is 3 years old. Like I should be able to play a 1-player game and fight someone in a 1-player game, like 2 minutes on the clock on a Final Destination board. And I should have no issue with that. Like, why can't I do that? That's really fucking stupid. I've done 1-player games and ended up in a 4-player game before. I'm like, what the actual fuck, Nintendo? Like, what the fuck? This is
not good.
It's not good. It's just like a suggestion. You're, you know what I mean? You're like, whatever you have there. I'm like, 2 minutes, 2 lives, no items. And sometimes I'll have items. I'm like, why is that though? Why would I possibly matchmake with one of the millions of, you know what I'm saying? Like, so as far as everyone's complaints about Nintendo and their online, I really play a lot of Nintendo games, as you can hear. And I play a lot of the online aspects too. And, you know, Mario Golf, tennis, like all these other ones are really not that bad. Even kart is really good. I was just playing the new kart levels this week. I forgot to mention that. I did do that. I played the new kart DLC. That was free for me because I have the N64 thing subscription, and those levels were actually really amazing. And the online is really smooth, and I find the matchmaking to be really fair and good, and it ranks you nicely. But in Smash, I'm just like, it's just not there. This is the game that kind of like brings down the look of the Nintendo online world, and it has since its origin. Like, and Mario Kart Online was not that great before, but it was doable. But Smash has really just been like, yeah. Anyway, I'm trying not to rag on it too hard, but it's something I don't like about the game, and it's a glaring, you know, faults to the game. The gameplay about the game, the story, there is somewhat of a story. There's enough of a story to hold together. It's enough for a fighting game, and I would say it passes. There's no like need to even mention it really. Was it engaging? No, you know, it's just whatever. How was the game? How was the gameplay? The gameplay. So they did something 2 games ago in Brawl. 2 games ago. In Smash Brawl, there was the Subspace Emissary, which was literally an adventure that you could have co-op with a friend and like run through like areas, you know, of stuff. And that was amazing. And that was like a real way to like turn this game into like an adventure game. In this game, they have an adventure mode, but it's really just like areas you go to on a gigantic overladen with quests map. And it feels less like, you know, I don't know. There used to be like events you could do, and now it's just like hundreds of these things. And I'm like, okay, they kind of taken away the personality of it a little bit. So the main story is actually like the story mode is like really not that enticing. Like the whole aspect of this is basically co-op or online. Really,
dude,
like really not. Or classic mode is really fun actually too. I do like classic mode.
I played through most of that campaign.
Yeah,
it is a nightmare.
It's a nightmare.
So many levels.
And again, I played through most of it too, and I'm a huge Smash fan, and I put 600 hours into this one just playing online with my friends, and I still haven't completed the first person mode, the first player mode, or beating it on classic with everyone. There's so many characters. It's just like, what's the fucking point?
Right.
How was the art? Actually amazing. It looks really fucking good. It makes a lot of these old characters look amazing. So like, I'm gonna say it's one of Nintendo's better looking games. They really care about how it looks because it's constantly being played online. So I'd say it's up there. It looks as good as Mario Kart does. It's really nice. I don't see it on here. Oh, here. I will mention the music is phenomenal. The music is the best part. Yes, the music is the best part of the entire game, I will say, because of how nostalgic and far into the past it reaches and liberties it's willing to take with some songs that you would like. If you hear a remaster of it, it just like brings a tear to your eye. You're like, no way they remastered that song from Zelda 2, like, or some random shit like that. You know what I mean? Like some game that you're so grateful is just has a shout out. And like they do that kind of stuff in this game. There's thousands of that in this game. Like it's really awesome for that.
When we were talking about the console generations a few weeks ago, and we were talking about the PlayStation 1 era, and how I used to rip soundtracks. I ripped Rob Zombie records out of Twisted Metal CDs. That was the one thing that I really wished they did for Super Smash Brothers, and they did for Melee.
So for Melee, they gave you a dude. You know how many years I had that in my car?
Dude, like, I still have it in my car.
I have it over here somewhere, but I think it's too scratched up to play.
Oh, I see. I just popped mine on my iPod.
I love that. I would always start the morning off with Brinstar, and like it segues right into F-Zero, and I was like, such a good way to get me. F-Zero always got me pumped so good.
F-Zero before a test, man. Gotta listen to Mute City.
Dude, that was awesome. Nintendo does this kind of shit all the time. They literally, so what we're talking about is in Nintendo Power, which everyone was a subscriber to at the time. They literally dropped an orchestrated soundtrack from Smash Bros. For free for the subscribers in the issue. So it's really amazing. They were notoriously ransacked in the stores. So like every time I saw that issue in the store, I would like bend it real quick. I'm like, of course not. It's gone. Like someone would take them out. But okay, where were we? Yes, the sound design also is really good. It's punching and shit, and it's perfectly spot on. You hear really cool character voices, and again, it's nostalgic as fuck. The game is infinitely long. It takes you as long as until you get bored, and then you pick it up later. It's definitely a Nintendo game that I do pick up later. So it and Mario Kart are the ones that like I for sure play again. You know what I mean? Like I haven't really picked up Mario Golf in a while or Party, but like I definitely play Mario Kart and Mario and Smash Bros very often, like just randomly. This is will I play a sequel? This is of course a game that I will be getting more of just because it's like one per console generation, and I feel like it's kind of a why not for Nintendo because they usually at least make it really enjoyable to play with your friends. The game is pretty difficult actually for story because I will say if you're going as hard as possible. Okay, no, not really then. Okay, there's a lot of easy shit in this game, but you can make it very difficult. I will say like the hardest computer is actually pretty hard. And then here we go. So let's just go over it again real quick. There was a lot. I'm going to give it the total impression right now. There was definitely a lot of negatives and positives with this game. The positives are basically that it's like the most nostalgic joyride Nintendo has ever offered. The online exists and it's really fun if it works for you. And the negatives are and it's really fun to play with your friends. And the negatives are it's a toxic ass community. It's inundated with updates that are just overladening the game with things you don't need in it. It doesn't look like Nintendo wants to fix a lot of the issues with it either. So it's kind of making the game stale for a lot of people that just want to jump in and play like every once in a while. That being said, the appeal is there. This is definitely a buy, in my opinion. It's definitely not for everyone because it is a fighting game. Although there are other things to do.
Not for me.
You're going to be spending most of your time punching the shit out of people. I'm going to be totally honest on this review. So with everything and for as long as this game has been out, taken into consideration, I'm going to give my overall impression. I got to be honest. I'm going to give an 8.4 Smash Ultimate. Yeah. I think it's really a really good game. I think it is. It's definitely in the above 8 because it is a Nintendo game and it is polished hard. But I just feel like there is a lot holding it back from being fair and balanced. Like currently, especially like maybe when this game launched, I would probably have given it a 9, honestly. But I think that it has just kind of fallen back a little. I think that calling it Ultimate is a little unfair because I think that the Wii U version was more fun. There was more side shit to do. It was such a better co-op experience, like Smash Tour and all that. And I loved Brawl. Brawl was so good for co-op. That was the first like the one after Melee. They really had to impress with the co-op. So Ultimate, it just feels like Nintendo kind of does that, like make a modernized version of their franchise. And they might have slightly missed the mark on this, but there's hope. There's hope for Smash in the future. Next Switch, we'll get another Smash. So
that puts it. 8.4 puts it above Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity for you.
Yes, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Below Pokemon Sword Shield Crown Tundra.
I would agree with that, actually. Yes. I would say that I had a more fun adventure experience on Sword and Shield. Like, I enjoyed like playing that without the online, and the online wasn't horrifyingly frustrating either. So that's another Nintendo game that the online was actually pretty decent for, at least for the time, until the meta got broken in half. So, but that being said, I still do play Smash to this day. So it's really up there for me, but it's just not my favorite Smash. Smash as a series, I'd probably give like a 9.5, but this particular one, definitely not there for me fully. Cool. And then, yes, let's move on to our topics now.
Boom.
People killing each other in the background.
I don't know. All right. Well, so this week we're wrapping up our series that we've done. We started out with doing the kind of the evolution of the console generations, and then kind of as a sub series to that, we decided to talk about handhelds. And we decided to split that into 2 parts. Last week we did kind of like the original few generations of handhelds, and now we're going to wrap it up today. There's actually a lot to go over. So
can we start with something we've already talked about?
Yeah.
Because I was so inspired by our last conversation that I'm just going to quietly reach behind me and grab this thing.
It looks like a Game Boy.
It is a Game Boy. It is my Game Boy from 1989.
Oh,
and it belongs to my cousin before me. I did talk to him, and I got his permission to do this. I mean, obviously, I didn't need it. It belongs to me. But take a look at that screen, Josh.
It's beautiful.
Wait, is it working? Is it saying Nintendo, or is it kind of glitchy? Oh, it's Pokemon Blue.
No, it's not Pokemon Blue.
Red.
All right, hold on.
Hello?
Give me a second.
Farther.
It is Pocket Monsters Green
Edition.
Nice.
Yep.
Dude, did I ever tell you that I was part of a translation project for Green back in the day?
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah, you told us. Yeah. You tell us about that a lot.
After our last,
it is really cool though.
After our last conversation, I went online and found a replacement screen for this. So it is a proper backlit LCD display.
That's insane. I didn't even notice that.
Play it all night if I wanted to.
That's so sick.
And Dutchy says, imagine needing 4 batteries. Well, imagine no longer, Dutchy, because there is a USB-C quick charge in there now.
What the actual fuck? That's like the best console ever now.
That is.
I'm not even kidding. It really actually.
And now you see why I was so putting that video card in.
Console you take with you.
Yep. This thing is such a beast now. I absolutely adore it. And like, I just can't stop playing it. It's so much fun. And I got through the first gym in Green entirely on memory.
Nice.
Because I can't read Japanese.
I don't think you need to read for any of that game, honestly.
I can't remember if I'm supposed to do. There's a couple things that I can't remember.
Yes or no's, but maybe not.
Yeah, but like I remember, I can recognize. Yes, your mother, Josh, says no more stealing batteries from the remote control. Very true.
Fan. Just kidding.
Yes,
I would steal all the batteries from everything.
And now I just drilled a hole through the back case. I can thread.
That's really cool, honestly.
Charge.
I want one.
It says to use the one from the Switch, so that's the one I've got over here.
How'd you get that set up?
Just gonna quietly put that back on the charger because it was dead when I brought it out.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. I'll be playing Donkey Kong on it right now, and you know the one.
Believe me,
the original Donkey Kong on Game Boy is so good.
Also, the lands are very good.
The lands are good. Yeah,
2 and 3.
The first game I played on it or did anything with was, of course, Link's Awakening. And then I didn't play the whole thing. I just played it a little bit.
First Zelda game I actually played, yeah.
Yep, because it's the nostalgic game for me on Game Boy. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna throw a Green version in there and just sit there and play it while you guys play Elden Ring, and I'm trying not to be sad because my graphics card isn't installed yet. So that's what's kept me sane. That's the thing I didn't mention at the top of the show, and it's all because we started talking about handhelds.
Nice.
And now I want to send me your Game Boys. I want to restore them.
Yeah,
really?
I'm gonna do
would
the
you
same
really
mod
do
on
that?
one of my DMGs.
Wait, if I send you my Game Boy, you do that to it?
Yes, I would.
Oh my
You have to
god,
order
I'm sending it
parts.
to you.
Yeah, do it.
How much is it gonna cost?
That screen was $60.
And that's it? And the battery?
That's it. The battery was a further 30, but that was a choice. Like, it didn't need the battery. It would have been fine.
Well,
but I was
we'll
like,
come to it. It's probably not a priority purchase right now.
no, I know that for you, but like when you're ready, let me know and I'll happily.
When I'm ready, it's something I really want.
Yeah, it's cool.
My
I did something similar to my Game Boy Advance.
I was about to say that it's modded though, isn't it? Game Boy Advance.
Well, the only mod is a backlight mod. So.
Oh, just the backlight.
Yeah, so
I forgot that
like
wasn't lit. I keep forgetting the Game Boy Advance wasn't lit.
Well, the original wasn't. We'll talk about that today, actually.
Yes. So
segue.
Now?
So we ended in like right about where the Game Boy Pocket came out. And this brings us to 1998, where SNK released the original Neo Geo Pocket, which was a really well-made console and had some excellent games, but it was a very small library. Unfortunately, it was discontinued the following year because it just could not keep up with the Game Boy.
What could? This game?
Yeah, kind of nothing. And that's kind of a theme that we see throughout all the handheld generations here. In 1999, we saw the release of the Game Boy Color. Still no backlight.
This was revolutionary, though, I must say. The Game Boy Color, game changer. It showed us that Nintendo was willing to like advance its shit. Like,
kind of, yeah. Well, because we had seen consoles with backlights and color and higher, like bit before, but Nintendo just has that secret formula to make those delicious games. So, it still wasn't backlit, still only an 8-bit screen, but it did have more RAM. So there was certainly some games that could be played on the original Game Boy that had, could also be played on the Color with, the full color. But then there was also exclusive games for the Game Boy Color, that utilized that extra RAM. The GBC was also backwards compatible with the OG Game Boy, giving it an impressive library. It
was amazing.
Yeah, right. On top of sales being boosted by the Pokemon games, which, had come out just a few years before this. And, I think around the time of the Game Boy Color is when Gold and Silver came out, which was, just absolutely huge for... I
was about to say, didn't we decide that because of the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color combined is one lifetime, it's the best-selling console of all time?
It's not.
What is it? It's not?
It's not.
Still
but
PlayStation 2?
Hold tight. Because, I would note, Paul, your timeline is exactly correct, because Crystal came out on the Game Boy Color, and that was technically
part of
Crystal came out on the Game Boy Color. I forgot how long it went.
Yeah.
Damn. That was 2000.
And what's interesting to me is that they slipstreamed backwards code into the programming of the Game Boy Color, specifically for Pokemon Blue, Yellow, Red, Blue, Yellow, Green.
Mm-hmm.
To give them color modes, but also for Metroid 2.
Yep.
There are special color modes on the Game Boy Color.
You could change the color at the beginning.
They did it for a few games, more so than that, because like Mario, Mario 2, 6 golden coins had a similar feature as well.
Yes, but it wasn't that one just utilized a default scheme on the color. The Metroid 2 one specifically, Metroid 2 they had to change the appearance of Samus's costume because there was no color mode on the DMG.
Right.
And when they went to do the Game Boy Color, sorry, I'm actually pulling. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. The developer of the Game Boy Color was Nintendo R&D 1. Responsible for Return of Samus.
Yes.
So they specifically said, okay, since a bunch of us worked on Return of Samus, let's put in a very specific color pattern exclusive to that game.
Such nerds.
Nice.
I know. So that's where you get the Varia in Metroid 2.
That's where the Varia suit finally came color bound.
Well, it did have color on the NES, but it wasn't.
It wasn't orange, right?
I don't think it was orange.
I
could be wrong.
She was blue purpley blue in the first game.
Yeah, like a pale
gravity suit more so.
Yeah. So that's where we see the first orange Varia.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really cool because the developers were the same people.
Yeah. It's very cool. So the GBC sold 118 million consoles in its lifetime. Incredible. I think you might be right if you combine every Game Boy.
Combine them all.
Like if you combine original Game Boy, Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance and its iterations, you're probably right that whole series may be the highest selling of all time. But if you're splitting them up like this, it's certainly not. I mean, but 118 million is not something to scoff at.
It is technically one library. That's why it's
118 million is yes. Okay, so Game Boy and Game Boy Color combined is 118 million.
Nintendo probably thought they were geniuses. They were like, we're going to make a second console for the same fucking library of games. We're fucking brilliant. Yeah. No one else had done this, by the way. This is the very first time they made a 2 for the same generation.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is like the Xbox Series S. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it kind of is.
Like that. They lately made a Game Boy Color.
Yeah. And this is something that Nintendo kind of made a trend with. You'll see later on. In 2000, the Neo Geo Pocket Color was released. It had an awesome joystick, like the best handheld analog stick of all times, if you ask me. Again, small game sales caused it not to be able to compete with the Game Boy Color. That same year, Bandai released the Wonder Swan in Japan only, which was very popular, but still also couldn't compete with Game Boy. Because of the kind of failure in sales, Neo Geo then left the handheld market. Kind of like a side note, a caveat, they almost came out with another. They had deals to make another handheld console that would play like full scale Neo Geo games around the time of the Game Boy Advance, but that project ended up being canceled, unfortunately. So that was the end of Neo Geo's handheld excursions. I
have a question for you.
Yeah, let's hear
it. I'm looking at the Neo Geo Pocket Color now. That screen looks very familiar.
Yeah, also the name Pocket Color.
Yeah, sure. But it looks like
Advance. The Pocket Color Advance.
It looks like what, Zach?
It looks like a Game Gear screen.
It's very different from a Game Gear screen. It might be because the Game Gear screen, Pocket Color wasn't a backlit screen.
That's right.
Yeah. That's right. And the Game Gear, the original Game Gear and the freaking my favorite handheld of all time that I can't think of the name. They had almost like a tube television as the screen. It was wild. But anyway, moving on. In 2001, we saw the release of the Game Boy Advanced, which was a 32-bit handheld, but was still backwards compatible with all previous Game Boy iterations.
Is nuts.
Yeah.
They made a new console that can play every game on their entire console library, plus the new console in twice the graphical range.
Yeah.
And it's half the weight.
Twice
and
the graphical range
half as many batteries as well. Oh my god.
Twice as many pixels as their previous proper console.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say this is the juggernaut of handhelds. I would say this console right here, and I believe it was the best-selling console at the time, or at least handheld, probably. At the time, it got surpassed, I feel like. But
I think I have the numbers in the notes. But the Game Boy Advance is certainly awesome. I got mine in Japan. This is my original Game Boy Advance. Now, the original did not have a backlight, which is why I ended up modding mine. Though there were further iterations of the Game Boy Advance. You have in 2003, the Game Boy SP was released, which was a clamshell design.
I like it. Didn't love that.
I love it. I love the SP. I don't have a good one anymore. My really good one got ripped in half by an ex-girlfriend. So I may end up modding one. There's actually 2 iterations of the SP. Actually, the the 001 and the 101, I believe. One was front lit, and then the other was backlit. The backlit, the 101s are the more sought after ones because they have a much better quality screen.
Yeah.
And then they also released the Gameboy Micro. Now, while both were backlit, only the SP was backwards compatible. The Micro was not backwards compatible. Could only play Game Boy Advance.
I don't want it anymore.
Only play advanced games.
It's probably the most sought after handheld, though. Like, it's very highly sought after.
Kind of ruins it for me.
Yeah, they're cool though. Like my friend had one, and I had the opportunity to get it from him when we were younger, and I didn't, and I regret that because it was really fun to play on. And it's like so pocketable, you know. They're tiny. Very cool though. Let's see, where were we in the notes? Do I have 81 million units sold in total. So it didn't sell that well compared to the previous iterations of the Game Boy, which kind of surprised me. Still not bad though.
No, not bad.
Yeah. In 2004, the Game Boy line ended, but was replaced with the Nintendo DS, a 64-bit dual screen handheld with a touch screen. Iterations of the DS include the DS Lite in 2006, the DSi in 2008, the DSi XL in 2009. Total sales came to around 154 million units sold, making this the best-selling handheld of all time.
Which is shocking to me because I hated it.
I loved the DS.
I loved it. I thought it was like an N64 in my hands.
Well, and you could also play Game Boy Advance games on the DS.
Yep.
Which was a really cool feature. And they looked great. Yeah. So
it was destroyed by its predecessor.
What do you mean?
Never mind. We're getting there.
I mean, this was the best-selling handheld console of all time.
I know, but in my opinion, as far as like
quality
best console, still quality-wise,
yeah. In 2004, so also in 2004, same year, the Sony Psp was released, which was at the time the most powerful handheld console. The PSP and its revision sold about 80 million units, so comparable to the Game Boy Advance. I did not have a PSP when it first came out, but I ended up getting one from a friend, and dude, it's an awesome console. Sony made some really cool handheld consoles, and once again, they just marketing wise could not do what Nintendo did, right? Which is a shame. Because honestly, it was very cool, but they were marketing these towards, like more hardcore gamers, which the hardcore gamers are playing on consoles, like TV consoles, the Xbox, the PlayStation.
So figure a majority of gamers just want fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Nintendo kind of figured that one out early.
They did. Yeah. I don't know why no one else sees that.
No one else sees that. It's like, hey, you want to have fun?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that for you.
Exactly. Iterations of the PSP include the PSP 2000, 3000, and PSP Go, which there really isn't much difference between the original PSP, the 2000, and the 3000. The Go, though, is like a weird slidey guy. It's more pocketable.
I remember that.
A lot of people that have them love them. Yeah,
it was based on cell phones at the time. The T-Mobile Sidekick was the
in Japan they had cell phone versions of it.
Yes, yeah. It was the first combination cell phone game device that we saw.
Well, that's not true. The N-Gage was, which I left out because it's kind of one of those obscure handhelds, and there's just so many obscure handhelds during these generations that I figured we'd leave that out. But yeah, the N-Gage was actually the first gaming phone, and it was a piece of shit.
It was bad. But this one, the PSP worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I remember in college, because it was early college when this dropped, we were hoping against hope that it showed up in North America, and it never did.
Yeah.
Because it also everybody started getting iPhones.
Yeah.
And I had my BlackBerry, which I still maintain is the best phone I've ever had.
My favorite BlackBerry Curve, my favorite phone that I ever had.
Absolutely. and it's just, we wanted that PlayStation phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'd never, in my life, I'd never wanted a Sony product ever.
Yeah.
But no, other than the Walkman or the Discman, I guess, is
yeah,
the thing in the 90s.
Yeah,
but
this was also the only handheld system ever to run off an optical drive, which was cool because it enabled it to easily port movies to the PSP. So that was one cool way to enjoy movies on the go, in very good quality.
Game Boy Advance tried to do that too, though.
They tried.
They tried unsuccessfully to port Nickelodeon TV shows. Was most of what it was. Rocket Power.
Oh yes, I remember this. Why would they do something so stupid?
Oh, they were terrible too.
It was so bad because you're trying to downscale those to 32-bit, which is not what animation is.
Yeah, much lower resolution than the PSP too.
Weird, herky jerky, but great audio. But that doesn't amount to anything.
Yeah,
you've got, whatever.
Yeah. So this then brings us all the way to 2011 is when we see our next proper generation of handheld consoles. Nintendo releases the 3DS. Similar in design to the DS, the 3DS was much more powerful and could display games in stereoscopic 3D without the use of goggles, which was smooth, really cool. Now, retrospectively, not the best for a lot of people. Especially the original iteration of it, kind of gave people headaches, but still a cool gimmick. Iterations of that include the XL, the 2DS, the new 3DS and new 3DS XL, and the new 2DS XL. The cool thing about the new 3DS line, two things, is number one, they kind of fixed the 3D. They added a optical sensor on the front of it that would gauge the distance of your eyes to the screen and would make the 3D a lot more clear and not as fucky with your eyes. So it was pretty cool. And then they also added a little nub as a secondary analog stick, which made games like Monster Hunter much easier to play because you didn't have to do weird shit with the camera. So that was pretty cool. It was also slightly more powerful than the original 3DS. So there were a couple of exclusive games on it. I think I'm trying to think of some. I think Hyrule Warriors had exclusive content on it. And I believe Majora's Mask had some exclusive features.
Yep, there was a few things.
I'm trying to think of there was a couple other games that were exclusive to the new 3DS, but I'm blanking on them, to be honest. But it was a cool addition to that. I didn't get the sales numbers for the 3DS line. I don't know why, but maybe someone can look that up while we continue.
Back console was a big deal when it came out, though.
Oh yeah, 3DS, for sure.
Humongous.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. I still love my 3DS. I've got two new 3DSs. One of them is modded, and I can actually stream from it, which is really cool.
So the 3DS family as a whole, 75.94 million.
Wow, so that's actually less than the PSP.
Yeah.
Wow.
Low.
But
I mean, you got to take the DS was so wildly popular, and there were a lot of games for it.
The 3DS was also backwards compatible with the DS.
Correct, and that's why I ended up buying a 3DS. I wanted to play the Mega Man Zero games again, and I didn't have a working GBA at the time.
Yeah.
But and then I also that was my first attempt at playing through 3D Zelda, because my buddy had relegated me to the read the Nintendo Power quietly to yourself while I play this game position. The first time we played them on 64, and I was like, all right, fine, I want to play these games for real. So that's why I bought the 3DS. But I don't do well, and I've talked about this before. I don't do well with 3D. It does not sit well with me. I don't think I've ever turned it on that thing. other than to just experience it briefly, and then I was just like, I can't do this. But I think that turned a lot of people off. 3D was not at the point where it is now.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of everywhere. I mean, we have VR now, and people get sick. People knew that they got sick because of 3D, and it's just the end game for them. They're not buying a 3DS. They're going to buy a PSP instead.
Mm-hmm. Also in 2011, Sony released their PS Vita. While much more powerful than the DS, it did not sell well, once again, mostly due to poor marketing. I mean, this was an awesome system, and the people that owned PS Vitas constantly to this day are still singing the praises of PS Vitas. But the PS Vita and its one iteration, the Vita Slim, only sold a combined 16 million units, prompting Sony to move away from the handheld market.
Yeah, I mean, that puts it on par with the Master System.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Horrible.
And TurboGrafx.
That's shit.
TurboGrafx
16 means you lost money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, big
Probably
time.
Lost money. Yeah, 16 is what Nintendo's marketing was like one console, so like imagine all of your money going into it.
Yeah. Ironically, their marketing scheme was basically console gaming on the go, which didn't really work out with them.
No one's done that before.
The irony of that is the next big handheld game or game system to come out is the Switch. Right? Yeah. Which is exactly that. Now, we didn't really include the Switch in this because that's also a standard console to a degree, and we talked about that in the console generations. But yeah, that's kind of the evolution of that. This isn't really. I mean, we kind of talked about like our first experiences with handhelds. So as far as like the personal questions on this. We can modify. Did you guys own and or play any of the
all of
ones that we mentioned today? Yeah,
all the Nintendo ones.
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
Yeah.
The only one I didn't have was the original Game Boy Advance. I didn't get. I just went right for the SP. And I didn't have the Micro either. I don't think anybody.
I didn't have any. I always had the first of every single one of these, except the color. I had the Game Boy Color, Advance, DS, and 3DS. That's it. No alternate iterations.
Yeah. Yeah. What was your favorite out of these?
3DS.
3DS.
So amazing. I think the 3DS. Well, I love the Switch. I would throw the 3DS out the window if you handed me both and said pick one. But I would say the 3DS was the predecessor to the Switch in a lot of ways, and there's even some unique stuff on it that I still miss, like the eShop in its like truest form.
Yeah,
where you could just go grab old games and stuff like that. Like I had the Oracles on there and shit like that, Kirby Pinball, you know what I mean? Like that was great. But the Switch is bringing that back. I would say, although the color and the original Game Boy especially gave me the most memories, probably especially the original Game Boy. And then, I literally played both of those consoles and the Advance, like that same library, you know what I mean, for like 10, 15 years. It was a large portion of my life.
Zach, what about you? Of the consoles, the handheld consoles we mentioned today, what was your favorite?
I got to go Game Boy Advance. My all-time favorite game, bar none, Mega Man Zero 2, came out on Game Boy Advance. I played that constantly, and I still play that to this day, albeit on Switch. But I'm still playing it. The Pokemon games for the original Game Boy still ran on the Game Boy Advance. So it was the first. Like I got my Game Boy Advance. My best friend gave me his because I was going to France for 3 weeks, and I didn't really know how to get myself through. I have really bad homesickness, and even to this day, I'll just be sitting around in the living room here at my house and have to just go to my parents for a few minutes. I get homesick. And when we went to France, that's far and away the farthest I've ever been from home. And what got me through was Mega Man 02. Mega Man 01. I only had Mega Man 01 at the time. And a Green Day CD.
Yeah. Nice.
I would just on repeat Green Day. There's a couple other CDs. I don't know.
Zach, it's so funny how many parallels we have in our youth. Right. Things that we loved. Because I'm with you. Actually, my favorite of this selection, while I absolutely love my DS and my 3DS and all that fun stuff, This Game Boy right here that I bought while I was in Japan is, this is my favorite.
Damn it, I feel like I should change my answer now. Because, like, honestly, I did have most of my gaming, like, on the Advance.
Yeah.
Like, the more I think about it.
Yeah.
I'm really proud to say that of the 2 Game Boy Advances that I have, this is the one that I took to France, and it's still the one that works.
Nice.
My Advance does still work.
Yeah, I need
the battery pack does not.
I need to clean out the contact point in the right bump, the right shoulder button. But I know it still works. It's just jammed with something.
Yeah.
So
get out that isopropyl. The one thing about the SPs is they're harder to take down because of the hinge.
I will say that my hands don't feel good on any of these consoles now. They like fall asleep literally on any of the consoles.
Really? You have like big old hands. Like I still really like all the handheld console.
Like holding it like this, this part of my hand like gets like numb sometimes.
Yeah, this feels fine to me.
And honestly, the Switch does it too. Like it all does it for me. Yeah.
So I only get that sensation if I'm like leaning my arms on something awkwardly, and I don't get like the
playing like this, like. Like, well, I guess like maybe I'm playing wrong, but like I feel like like the Game Boy back in the day, I never. I mean, that was my go-to.
Maybe we're just all old and have poor circulation.
But now a controller in my hand feels great. A controller like feels comfortable and like it never hurts my hand in any way.
I was playing Pokemon for quite a while the other day, and my hands never fell asleep.
I think it's
my hands just dropped.
Or if it's like the width, like a Game Boy is only this thin. So your hands are like this, and then a controller is like this thick around your head. You know what I mean? So like spreads your fingers out more circulatory space.
Let's see. What about any of the obscure ones? Did you guys own or play any of those?
Vita briefly in college. I think someone just had it, and I was like, oh, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I thought they were shitty. Honestly, I thought that even the Vita, I didn't even know it came out. I was like, what the hell?
That's hilarious. I really, really like the PSP. I wish I paid more attention to it when it came out, because I didn't get mine until much after it was gone. Though mine's modded, and the best version, the absolute best version of Final Fantasy IV is on the PSP. Ooh. And I think it's worth it just for that. But there's several other really fantastic games, and it can play like the full library of PlayStation 1 games, which is cool. So the PSP is really cool. I never owned a Neo Geo Pocket Color, but a friend of mine lent me one for a short time, and it was really cool. I really loved it. It's got like an awesome frame rate. Like I said, that joystick is just so good. It's like just such a satisfying feel to it. It's just a shame that it, was kind of a failure commercially. But yeah. Let's see. As far as what handheld game consoles held up the best, like we know the answer to that. We all probably have the same answer. It's going to be probably the Game Boy Advance and or just the original Game Boy. The whole Game Boy line.
The library is just stupid.
Yeah, while the DS is awesome, I don't kind of like the 64. I don't think the games hold up as well in a lot of cases. 3DS I think does better, but yeah. And overall influence, kind of similar to what we talked about last week, right? So, but Josh mentioned something earlier about the Nintendo Switch and how Nintendo kind of use their different design philosophies to kind of build into the Switch, and I think that definitely influenced gaming going forward. Do you guys have anything to add to that?
I think the Switch is like the highest iteration of what Nintendo has been trying to achieve over the years. Like it's literally like each thing was like a piece of it in a way. You know what I mean? Like the Game Boy, the N64, like all of it inspired the 3DS heavily. Like a lot of these things heavily inspired. You know what I mean? Like you look at other consoles and they like are kind of just like moderate iterations of each other, like Xbox and PlayStation, just like incrementally better. But Nintendo, it's like different like pieces of, like each console does something so very different. And now it's all kind of culminating on the Switch. And I think Nintendo's next console might be like potentially their perfect console, like, you know what I mean? But the Switch is pretty much as good as I can ask for right now. I think it's like there's no issue with it. I think it's the best handheld console potentially in existence now, for especially with the younger generation existing and never playing a Game Boy for sure now. We need the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance, like on
right
the Switch,
on the Switch. Yeah,
like come on, no fucking brainer. It's a handheld console. Are you kidding me? Give us that library. It's so they must hear our voices. Like that must be heard.
So it's interesting. I had to explain to my niece today what a Game Boy was.
Oof.
And she loves her Switch. She loves her Switch. And I was like, Finley, this is what a Switch was, you know, when your mother and I were kids. And this is what we played on. Yeah. And she's and her older sister was like, I really want to try that. Like, I really want to try that. Mm-hmm. And T's not really a gamer per se. Like, she plays some games, but she's not really a gamer the way we are by any stretch. And to see that interest means that the kids still care.
Yeah.
I showed the final version of my upgraded Game Boy to some of my students over the last week, and they were like, that is really, really neat. Like, that's so cool. And so there's still the passion still exists, but the handheld market these days is Switch and Steam Deck.
Mm-hmm. Steam Deck something I didn't mention in this whole lineup is right now there's like a huge like surge of like handheld emulators out there. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are kind of shitty, but there's some actual really good ones out there. You know, so if that's something you're interested in, you could definitely do research and find some cool handheld devices that run like custom firmwares and stuff that will emulate like a numerous amount of systems. But
the Raspberry RetroPie setups are fantastic.
I think the issue is like seamlessness and like just a quality polished product, and like Nintendo, it's just so fucking polished. Like even the screen is like the sounds it makes when you're like swiping through, you're like, damn, this Switch is fucking like tight as fuck.
So cool.
Like, it's so damn good. And the Steam Deck looks good, but
I respect tremendously what Valve is trying to do with the Steam Deck.
Yeah, I really do.
It has a chance of catching on because of the market, the crowd they're marketing.
Yeah. They're on the bottom rung, and they're like, okay, let's just climb up to dad's height here. And like, it's insane how I'm not saying this will do bad, but I think
and I hope it doesn't.
Nothing catches on like the big three do. Like, you know, nothing does. And Apple did this a while back, and they had a really big push for this new console. I don't even remember now, but it was like big at the time, and now no one even fucking remembers what it's called. And the Steam Deck looks great, but Nintendo is probably going to drop some shit when they're in the middle of their lifespan, and they're going to just like Steam Deck. No one gives a shit. Nintendo's got a new console,
especially at the price point.
It's hardware. It's fixed
hardware. It's fixed hardware, and it's also like, this is the console that if you finally wanted to be a PC gamer but don't want a full PC, that's what you get. But it's not like I want to be like a handheld, like for fun on the go gamer. That's still Nintendo.
Yeah,
right. I think the biggest problem that Steam Deck is going to face is as soon as the next Elden Ring drops and it can no longer play that game, done. It's game over for the Steam Deck.
Yeah, I actually 100% agree with that.
That is the issue.
And I've thought about that a lot because PC is so modular, and this is kind of one of my complaints about PC gaming in general is like keeping up with technology and compatibility. Like things, you know, PC hardware ages out so much quicker than console hardware does, and you know, you'd hit the nail on the head. Like the Steam Deck, while it's awesome, is already an underpowered PC compared to what the current standard is. And so, the next
I put in my box, I just barely put a brand new graphics card in. My processor and motherboard are 7 years old, but my computer is still going to perform. It's going to run Elden Ring better than Chamali's Steam Deck.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When you told me to download in 20 minutes, I was like, this guy's gonna have no issues.
Right.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up, boys. We once again went real long on this episode, so but it's been good. So
that was the end of our whole thing.
Yeah, we need to come up with some new topics.
Whoopsies.
I did. You vetoed it.
Yeah.
We had 6 weeks to come up with topics.
I didn't veto anything.
We had like 10 weeks. That was like how many weeks did we just spend on that? 10?
No, like
I think it might have been, dude.
Oh,
we started in
10.
February.
Yeah, I mean, there were 8 gens and then 2 handheld gens.
Okay. Yeah.
Shit.
Damn, that was good. Good content.
That was good. We actually did it. Good content, guys. Now
yeah, I'm impressed with us. Anyway, if you're watching this live, you're watching it on my Twitch channel. I stream on Tuesdays, and I've been inconsistent about Thursdays, but Thursday is one of my slots. And I'll stream whatever main game I'm playing. Right now is Elden Ring. And then on Saturday, I always stream a samurai game, which also right now is Elden Ring because I'm playing as a samurai. Yeah. And then we're back here on Sunday nights for the podcast. If you're watching it on YouTube, please share it, and we will love you for that. All the links are in the chat currently. Don't forget to join the Discord. We have a lot of fun conversations there. And if you want to yell at me on Twitter, it's at Ryugami-sama. Josh, where can we find you?
Yes, find me on Twitch. What am I saying? Lord Yeshua or Lord Yeshua TTV on Instagram and all that shit that I never on. And you won't find me there probably. I promised I would stream Kirby when it came out, and boy, it's coming out in 5 days.
I'm excited.
I have that promise made, and yeah, I'm not regretting making that at all.
Dude, do it. It'll be so fun.
I'm doing it. I am going to stream Kirby. I promise, and it is going to be the next game I stream. Elden Ring is just absolutely too much. It's like
stressful to stream. I'm doing it.
Yeah. I need freedom in that game. I need to be able to take as long as I want.
That's why I have 2 characters.
Yeah. That's honestly not a bad idea, yeah. But so Kirby is definitely going to be for fun. It's easy to consume, and I'm going to be playing it on stream in 5 days time. So check that out on Friday. Zach, where you at?
Twitch at Another Letdown. I will be live on Wednesday playing Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I don't think I'm gonna go live on Friday, Josh, especially if you're playing Kirby. I'm not gonna
oh yeah, come watch that.
I'll come watch you, and I will also play Elden Ring off stream. And then Saturday, Paul's brother Adam and I do miniatures painting. It's just chill and listen to old school video game music, actually a lot of handheld video game music. And work through Marvel Crisis Protocol minis, which is a lot of fun.
Very cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for hanging out tonight. Had a real fun episode. We'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.
Peace out. See ya.